Hello, everybody, and welcome to This Week at Shrouded, episode 36. I'm your host tonight, Agreener. We have guests Mr. Wrecked, BigWaveDave, and KorSavage. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, there you go.
Yep.
All good. So, interesting week. So, it should be very easy to talk about. We don't have a TWAB or a TWID like we normally do. So, we don't have to talk about that. We don't have any...
I will never call it a twin.
There definitely is a thing, but I think we're going to just focus on the whole general thing of what happened on Tuesday or Monday. I can't remember now. It's been forever. It's been a long week. But, I mean, we might as well start it off on a not such a negative note. Anybody been doing anything other than playing good old Destiny all week?
There's other games besides
There's
Destiny.
other games. No,
Go ahead.
I've been playing a lot of League because I've kind of like started experiencing that end of season Destiny burnout that everyone does. So I started playing a lot of League again. Just got back from a vacation up in the mountains, which was super good for my mental health.
Great, that sounds awesome. Except for the League, you know. No, I'm kidding. I used to play League all the time.
League of Legends,
It's a toxic relationship I can't leave. I've tried uninstalling. I've tried quitting. I can't.
Yeah, I quit playing League. I don't know how many years ago now, but yeah, I played it for a long time. Wrecked, you got anything going
I was
on?
on my university's competitive team.
Nice.
I'll let Wave finish what he started.
Oh, steady. Okay, you go ahead, Wave.
I started this new survival game. It is very difficult. It is called Green Hell. You are dropped off in the Amazon rainforest, and you have to combat literally everything. You will, if you get a wound, like an open wound, and you don't treat it, it'll get infected and you die. If you pass out on the floor, a worm will crawl into under your skin, get infected, give you fever, and you die. If you fight a jaguar, you'll get lacerations all over your arm. They get infected. You run into a bunch of fire ants. You die. So these is all actual experiences of my first 15 deaths in this game. It's a very difficult game, but after playing with my cousin, we finally got to a point where we're able to actually not die on a consistent basis. We went through our first actual play session where neither one of us died, so we got to that point. But game is actually very fun and very difficult, but how difficult it is actually what makes it super fun.
The best is when you have so much stress that your character starts to go crazy and hallucinate, and your hallucinations are what kill you.
Oh yeah, that was another good one. I decided to experiment with cannibalism, and that did not go well. Nope.
Pretty soon you see people everywhere that aren't there.
Yeah, wasting your arrows at hallucinations. Was one of the things I was doing.
Awesome. That actually sounds really cool. I might check it out. Green Hell?
Green Hell, yeah.
All right. Wrecked?
I've been playing Return to Moria.
Oh, yes.
Bought it a few days ago and I've been playing survival game as a dwarf. So it's been fun. I've enjoyed it.
I heard it's okay.
It's kind of simple, but I like it. It's good.
I don't believe you.
It would be better if there were more people to play with. The game is designed to be played with a group, and the game gives absolutely no fucks if you're not in a group. The enemies you fight are exactly the same regardless. It doesn't scale down for you being by yourself.
Oh, damn. Savage.
My mic's been disabled again.
We can still hear you. So.
Okay. I just wasn't. Wait.
Oh wait.
There we go.
Everyone's
just took a
alive.
second.
It
Now
should-
it's alive.
Okay. So, no promises. This is going to keep going.
Yeah.
But we'll try.
Okay.
All right. Let's. Were you talking? Okay, we were talking about the Mines of Moria and that it sucks
Return to
single
Moria.
player. Yeah. Okay. Return to-
I wouldn't say it sucks, but it would be better if I had more
better with
people.
other people. Yeah. All right.
And
So.
I've started playing Overwatch again.
Oh no!
I tried to get back into Overwatch, and you're talking to someone who, across 3 different platforms, has over 15,000 hours on Mercy. Like, I was a top 500 Mercy for a long, long time. And I tried getting back into Overwatch 2 weeks ago, and it's so vastly different than the Overwatch that I fell in love with. Like, went into a quick play game, and I'm used to quick play games lasting like maybe 3 to 5 minutes. This one lasted almost 15-20 minutes because it was some like flashpoint whatever the heck they have going on, and I'm just, oh my god, I did not.
I've never really played Overwatch at all, but 15,000 hours is a lot of hours.
I have a big problem.
That is
I
a
tend to
lot.
hyperfixate. Yeah.
That's quite. A
Well,
few
and as I
hours.
said, it's across 3 different platforms too.
Still, that's still crazy. Like I've played Destiny for 6 years, and I'm still only at 3,000 hours. So, like, that's nuts. Well, you must be good.
Used to be before I stepped away for a while.
Yeah, I suppose. You do lose that after a bit. Okay, so Rect, how is it getting back into Overwatch? I know you were real mad at them for the whole single player nonsense bullshit that they pulled on everyone, but
The only reason I got back into it is because there's a bunch of people in Apex that are playing again, and I was tired of just playing Crucible by myself, so I folded and started playing again. It's just the same as it was before. There's some new match types like the flashpoints, and there's a couple of new characters, but it's the same old Overwatch that I used to play.
okay. All right. Well, last week we didn't have an episode of the podcast because I was out of town for work, so I didn't play any video games last week. And mostly I've been trying to finish off my Festival of the Lost stuff in Destiny. So boring old Destiny, standard stuff, Lost sectors. You know, I played some Gambit because it was double Gambit this week, and you needed playlist shit. So I did some of that, and it was just as fun as Gambit always is.
Listen, I love Gambit. There's a reason my name is Drifter's Milkbank.
I thought that meant something else.
Yikes.
Yikes. But yeah, anyway, so my point was mostly Destiny this week. I don't think I've played anything or touched anything else, but I haven't also played a lot because, you know, being away for a week, I had a lot to catch up on, trying to plan for the extra live stream, trying to get people on board for that, trying to do other shit probably, can't remember, I don't know. Always so much stuff going on, it's a lot of fun. It's my favorite thing ever. So, but we are going to get into the topic of the hour, Bungie and their corporate shenanigans over the last week, and see what everyone's thoughts on it. I know Rex got big thoughts about some content creators. I'm definitely interested in hearing something about that. But if you guys hadn't heard the news, basically Bungie laid off 8% of their workforce, fired them, whatever you want to call it. It's about 100 people. Oh, everyone's gone. All right, that's cool. Everything's closed.
Okay.
All right, if it doesn't work now, there's nothing I can do. Okay, let's get back into it.
Okay.
All right. So this week, Bungie laid off 8% of their workforce, approximately 100 people. Everyone went insane on the internet. They've reportedly, though we haven't got an official statement from Bungie regarding the delay of the final shape, everyone's saying it's being delayed till June based on inside sources. And Marathon has now been pushed to 2025. And apparently Matter was canceled 3 years ago, and nobody knew about it. So goodbye, Matter. We barely knew you, but you're gone. Okay, so a lot of controversy.
What was it supposed to be?
Nobody knows. It was.
Well,
Nobody
then.
knows.
Okay.
We just knew they were working on a
Mystery.
third game, and apparently that got scrapped. So, all right. So a lot of the controversy is basically how Bungie handled the system. Reportedly, people came in. So they got an email that said there was news, and there'd be some meetings that were happening tomorrow. So this was Monday, and then tomorrow, being Tuesday. People went into those meetings, and in those meetings they were being told that they were being let go, and they were told not to tell anybody, so they could get through all of the meetings without like word and panic spreading. And then I guess some people just found out because all their shit was locked when they got to work, like they couldn't get into their emails or any of their files, stuff like that. And then word started to spread pretty quickly. The internet lit on fire with conspiracies and reasoning, blaming everybody under the sun, whether it be Bungie CEO, whether it be the Sony acquisition, whether it be, poor performance, Sony replacing Bungie employees with their own. I could go on and on and on. And then a little bit of actual information come out regarding, they laid people off on the 30th because that way they only have to pay for one extra day of benefits. That the reason people are getting let go was because Destiny was 45% behind budget, or not budget, but budget. That's the word I was looking for.
45. It missed sales projections by 45%.
40, yeah. So their
revenue
yearly
projections
budget, or their yearly revenue budget was behind by about 45%. And then, which I thought, I want to bring this part up because when I think it was Jason Schreier that reported on that first, said 40, like everybody just took that fact and was like, oh, Bungie's blaming us for not buying it. And I just got to say, whether I'm happy with Bungie or not, or whatever it is, it's like that as a fact is not what they're saying. They're not being like, this is your fault. They're just letting people know, like, we're 45% behind our yearly targets. That doesn't mean, like, we laid people off this year. Encore, the company that I work for, we said it was because we were behind our yearly budget. That wasn't us calling up all of our customers and being like, this is your fault for not paying enough. Like, that's not what that meant. I just wanted to point that out. Like, people getting on that train was ridiculous. I thought it was so stupid. But anyway, just because I had mentioned that, I wanted to bring it up because I thought that was funny. Funny little turn of events. We can get into everyone's point of view on this. Obviously, it sucks for the 100 people that lost their jobs, lost their livelihood. Did Bungie handle
for the holidays?
Yeah, that doesn't help. Obviously, a lot of people on board with 2023 is tough economically. A lot of companies have been doing this across tons of different industries. So they're kind of like coming a little bit to Bungie's defense. And then the people that are just straight up mad about it will come out with, no, they did it poorly. But if you look at the trends across businesses, across America and Europe and Canada even, it's the typical system of how they do it. Towards the end of the month, they do it closer to the beginning of the week, not the end of the week. And a bunch of these systems just scream corporate America, which sucks, and it's terrible.
Would you say that it's cyclical? Like it cycles, like this is a cycle that companies tend to go through?
This is a very common thing for corporate companies to do. I think everybody is going insane right now because we're part of the world almost. Like you hear, like I was doing a stream just yesterday and I was talking about the 900 employees that Epic let go last month. And half the people didn't even know about it.
I remember reading about that.
Yeah, half the people on the stream didn't know about it. And I was like, it was no different. It was the exact same thing, except for it was 15% of the workforce.
Greener. Just wait.
Okay.
I got some. I actually have some notes and some research I did in preparation for tonight. Mm-hmm.
Oh, was what they did worse or better? Okay. Anyway.
Significantly worse, and they're not the only one in the video game industry.
Anyway, my point was
worse.
My point was when I mentioned it, I was like, it's been a month since that happened. Nobody's talking about it. It's over. I was saying last night, I was like, this is going to be old news in a month. Nobody's going to be talking about it. You're all screaming social pariahs or whatever it is going on right now. You're screaming into a void, pretending like you care about people, but you're doing it for clout. In my opinion,
I think a lot of it's a shock factor too. It shocked people, and it's going to wear off after a while.
It wears off fairly quickly if Epic proves anything right now. 900 people, which is 9 times the amount that Bungie let go, and we're less than a month after it happened. And I haven't heard a word of it since the news broke on September 28th. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody cares. And the same thing's going to happen here, which is ironic. And I think it's funny that there's a lot of. I know you want to talk a lot about content creators, but right now,
it's not content creators specifically. It's people on
and
Twitter,
reporters and Twitter. Okay, well, I'm seeing a lot of these videos. I'm just seeing a lot of these videos going out that's explaining the situation, that's condemning Bungie for what they're doing. Yet, I always find that super ironic that. These people are putting out videos about this stuff when we already know that it happened. It's great. We've been talking about it on Twitter for 2 days, but they want to benefit financially by releasing a video. Yet in that video, they're talking about how all these people are now without an income. And I've always found that just so ironic that you're exploiting them for your own gain while condemning Bungie for firing them. It's hypocritical, and I hate it. And I absolutely hate it. And people might say to me right now, you're doing the exact same thing, a podcast. Well, I don't make money off this podcast, and I'm doing it anyway. So it's way different. All right? Let's make that clear to all you haters out there. Haters of the SGC.
I saw a really interesting perspective on this that, for me personally, it didn't really sit well, but I'm a part of a bunch of different Destiny Facebook groups, and of course the groups have all been abuzz with this, just like Twitter and everything. And someone commented, and this comment says, "People get fired from big companies for less. You underperformed. The game has been janky for a while now, so it's time to let go of people working from home who can't even meet expectation. There are 27 right-to-work states, meaning they can fire you for whatever reason they want, etc., etc." And I'm sitting here like, but some of the people that they let go weren't necessarily linked to the game and its underperformance. Like Michael Salvatore, that was the biggest name that hit me that they let go. I told that person, listen to any one of his compositions for the game and tell me that he's underperforming and the root cause of the game being janky. Like, it's just, that perspective was a really, it can kind of work its way in there, but there are people that they let go, like community managers and the composers, that were doing above and beyond what I've seen a lot of community managers and composers for other game companies do, that were let go, that had nothing to do with the game being janky.
Listen, I don't want to come off as mansplaining or ageist, who thinks kids don't know shit about what they're talking about. But let me preface.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Let me preface what I'm about to say. Look, this is not the screed that I'm going to go on to. I will get to the screed though. All right. I am 44 years old. All right. I have worked in a corporate environment for over 20 years. All right. In my 20 years, just at the company I'm at now, there have been 7 major layoffs. All right. I've been involved in 12 major layoffs in all of my time. Nearly one every year, every couple of years. Right. Corporate layoffs. When a company comes through and decides they're going to lay people off, all right, They are doing an analysis of who they can let go based off the amount of time it takes to get work done, the quality of that work, and the cost of the people involved. All right. When they're figuring out who they're going to let go, you know what they're not looking at? Performance. They're not looking at individual performance. Unless you're in sales, nobody's getting their individual performance looked at. What they are looking at is, how can I balance the time and quality to get things done against the cost? And they will figure out what that's going to look like and how much they have to cut. And they're just going to find the salaries plus benefits that meets the target in the area they need to cut. And that's all who's getting cut. It's actually not personal. It has nothing to do with seniority, although people that are more senior, that are middle managers, get disproportionately affected when these things happen, because they are an easy way to cut budget out of a department. But that's it. It's completely faceless. It doesn't matter how good of an employee you are, how long you've been there, what your storied career in your industry was. When there's a money issue and they need to cut costs, that's it. That's just how it works. And, you know, I've seen a lot of people online going over, they're getting rid of people that were doing their job well. They weren't even getting rid of the people that weren't. It doesn't fucking matter. Nobody cares. HR doesn't even look at that shit when they're deciding who it is they're going to let go. They are just looking at numbers to fit into their algorithm to get rid of the number of people they need in order to get the cost to wherever the target is. And that's it. That's all there is to it. And that's how every layoff happens in every company in the United States. All right. And it happens dozens of times every year. All right.
All right.
If you think about it from that perspective, though, the Salvatore layoff makes 100% sense, though.
Yeah.
If you think about it from that perspective. Yeah.
I figured he was so good that his budget was, or his salary was so inflated that they're like, we got to get rid of this guy.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised
And,
if Bro came forward for more money. Like, he's like, look, I've been killing it for like the past 3 years on this. It's like, why aren't you paying me more? He's like, well, see you later. But, you know,
Literally gone fishing.
I just thought the perspective of, oh, they all got laid off for underperformance was a little off, because as Rex says, it's not about individual performance. It's not about the game being, you know, janky, which that's still a problem, yes, but I don't think it was the root cause of why the people got laid off.
It's a number on a spreadsheet. They need to make the number hit 0. All right, that's it, and they will plug people in and take them out until the number hits 0. That's it. I mean, that's all there is to it. And it's not even like individual people managers get to make any of these decisions. All the decisions on who's going to get let go isn't even made by somebody who's actually doing the work or managing the people doing the work. It's made by bean counters and HR. That's it.
Yep.
That have no idea what the fuck is going on in the individual groups, right?
I've actually experienced that this year in my company, specifically in my department. A few people were let go. And I do actually think that there was maybe a little bit of manager influence, because I've been with the company longer than anybody in my department. So I probably have the biggest salary, and they didn't fire me. So that's good. I hope that they listen.
Fingers crossed, knock on wood and all that.
Yeah.
2 of these layoffs that I've been involved in, I was actually cut from the company I'm working at now. I was just able to parlay my network at the company into not being cut, right? But it literally happens to anybody that works for a big company. It will happen to you at some point in your career. That's just the reality of it.
I mean,
Anyway.
It happened to me earlier this year, and it actually happened to me with my, not this most recent position, but the one before. They had budget cuts, and they needed to let people go, and they chose someone with more experience. You know, no hard feelings on my part. I completely understood. It still stung, because then I was out of a paycheck. But I understand where it's coming from. If they're budget cuts, if there's a money issue, and because they weren't meeting those sales projections, they didn't have the, I'm guessing it was, they weren't meeting the sales projections, and they needed to find out where they could cut costs. And again, it comes back down to money.
Yeah.
That's what makes the world go around.
Anyway, now that we've kind of given our perspective and our thoughts on how corporate America works. I do want to point out that this absolutely sucks. Companies can make these decisions and do it better than Bungie did. It was the news that came out. It was just how it was handled and how it was done. What an awful way to do it. But everybody jumping on Bungie and being like, "Oh, like you just killed Destiny," blah 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 blah. No, in fact, they saved their company by doing this, because you ever hear of bankruptcy? That exists. This is to avoid that. Obviously.
Let me tell you a story.
Okay,
Let me tell you
go.
a personal story. All right.
All right, I'm
The
listening.
worst layoff that I've ever been part of, that I've ever been involved in, was at the company I'm at now. I am an early riser. I get up when it is still dark outside. I wake up at like 4 a.m. to do my morning routine and then get to work by 5. All right. Consequently, when I used to be somebody who had to go to the office, I was one of the first couple of people there. There'd be like maybe one other car, or I'd be the first car to get to the building. So this one morning, I drive into the business park where the office complex for my area is in, and I turn into the parking lot, and I can immediately see that every single supervisor and every single manager that had an office, their lights are on and there's people in those offices. Instantly, I'm like, uh-oh, there's a problem. There's a ton of cars in the parking lot, and there is a literal army of hired security outside. All right. Just a whole bunch of dudes wearing Garda uniforms are just hanging out, milling about in the parking lot. So it's going to be a bad day instantly. All right. I come in, the environment's really weird. It's just me and one other person that I normally see in the morning looking kind of scared, like deer in the headlights, and a bunch of supervisors and managers with their doors closed, having loud conversations. Go to my desk, sit down, wait for people to come in. As people are coming in throughout that whole day, a security person is coming and tapping somebody on the shoulder, walking them back to one of these offices that's got a supervisor or a manager and an HR person in it each. They go in, they have a conversation, they come out with a box, they don't say anything to anybody on their way out, they pack their shit and they go. And that went on for 8 hours that day. All right. So listen, maybe I'm just totally fucking blasé because of my own experience, but this is the kind of thing that happens when these big layoffs happen, especially if you're, in a situation kind of like I was in, where it was a big office area, and this was an office area with open concept too, by the way. So you could see everybody getting pulled back and then being forced to leave all day long. Worst day I've ever had, but this is the kind of thing that happens, and I'm still working there almost 10 years later.
Yeah. You want to know here's my story of my worst layoff. My worst layoff story. So I was working at a company when I was like 23, probably. And I was like middle management, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I was somewhere in there. I was one of the few people that got a call to be told that don't come into work today, the doors are going to be locked and nobody's going to be allowed in. And that was it. So they called like 6 people. I was one of them, so I was like, I gotta see this, So I went down to the big building where thousands of people were on their way to work. Doors locked all the way across the building. Signs on the doors that say nobody's employed anymore. And that was it.
Whoa.
That was the end of it.
Ooh. Oh.
So I don't want to say that what Bungie did was good. Obviously,
No.
it's not. And
But
obviously,
people
how
suck.
these things happen are not good. People make... A lot of times, these decisions get made by corporate, and then they got to figure out how they're going to carry them out, right? And the way they carry these out on short notice, because a lot of times this wasn't like strategic planning that took months and months and months for them to figure out. This is something they decided 2 weeks ago was needed to happen, right? So somebody's been scrambling to make it happen, and then we get what we get. We get the shit show we get. So I don't think anybody's defending the way Bungie carried it out. Yes, it sucks, but
And they did. Yeah. They could have done it
it's
a
not
lot better.
entirely unusual. Is my main thing.
A lot of people are just
And I
saying
don't
like, what bothers me is it's just the way people are saying. It's like, oh my god, like Bungie's the worst company ever. How could they do it this way? Da 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 da. And it's like, well, it's pretty normal. You're invested because you're part of the community. This happens all the time, that doesn't make it right, and it makes it terrible. And doing it on the last day of the month to avoid paying, extra or insurance
Extra
benefits and shit.
and everything. Yeah.
Super scummy. It's terrible.
I feel like
nonsense,
they could have waited. If they were going to do that, they could have waited the extra day and then let them go at the first of the month, so that way they wouldn't have to scramble to figure out things like benefits, because that's something huge. That's something that I'm struggling with right now. Like, benefits are very, very important, and trying to get any kind of health care without insurance is a pain in the tuchus.
The problem
that was
is
also probably projected into the cost analysis, like Rex said. The people who did the number crunching were like, this is the way we could probably lay off the least amount of people, because then we don't have to pay another month of benefits to these 100 people.
Next to salaries, health insurance is the largest expense that you have for employees. Period.
I was gonna say benefits for a month for 100 people is easily like 100,000. Like it's like, so you save
also,
that.
like,
you
as
save
you were
that by
saying,
dropping them.
Like, the way that they did it too, they got in, they were showing up to work, or they're logging in, trying to log into their systems, not expecting anything was wrong, and they're just being completely blocked out, was really, really wrong on Bungie's part. And I think that's what has a lot of people upset too, is they were blindsided. And because they got into work, they thought nothing was wrong, it was all hunky-dory, and they were trying to start their work days, and then boom, they can't access any of their systems.
Well, when you're a manager, what you don't want is a bunch of... You don't want a bunch of people panicking and making bad choices with their access to their systems once they know there's layoffs happening.
That's it. Right?
I don't want to necessarily say out and out sabotage, but they don't want people stealing files or messing stuff up, because if I got laid off tomorrow, listen, we have a new CEO at my company this year, and when new CEOs happen, we're going into, my company's fiscal year happens to coincide with the calendar year. We're going into Q4. That's when layoffs happen. So, and they happen disproportionately more in years that we've got a new CEO. That's this year. So I'm expecting there to be some of that happening end of this month, maybe middle of next month, if it's going to happen. But when people are in this position, they start to make some really bad choices in the moment, in the rush of emotion. You know what I mean? And so that's like why, especially,
it's a knee-jerk reaction that they'll have, and so it's like I can kind of see it from that perspective. But I still think that there has to be, and I can't think of what they could have done better off the top of my head, but there had to be a better way for them to do it rather than just.
It's tricky. Yeah, there's no other better way than to just get those 100 people in the same room at the same time and tell them they're all fired. And that news would have gotten out, and everybody would have said Bungie handled it wrong. But that's the only way to do it without locking people out of the system and not getting to them in the proper amount of time. Or you try to have all these one-on-ones, you can't do it. Word's going to spread too fast. It's impossible. The only way, get them in an auditorium,
it's an
tell them they're
situation.
fired.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Damned if you don't, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's super tricky. And you can't be like, hey guys, we have to let 100 people off in 30 days. So at the beginning of October, for example, you can't have people work under that pressure for a month. Everyone's saying they didn't get any notice. It's like, okay, here's a couple weeks notice. Should we tell the 100 people that they're the ones? No, because then you have sabotage happening, right? So the only way that everybody would have notice is to put how many 600 people they said today? So it was 700 the other day, 750 people. It's like, okay, we're removing 100 of you. We can't tell you which 100 because you might sabotage the company. But we're giving you notice, so it might be you. Obviously, that's not the right way to do it too. But there's no way to give notice other than that. it's an impossible situation where half the internet's going to be pissed off at them for one way of doing it, the other half of the internet's going to be pissed off at them for the other way of doing it. The only way Bungie could have avoided people being pissed off with them is somehow they said, we're releasing the final shape today, and it's the best expansion ever. Like, that's literally the only thing they could have said on Tuesday that would not have people pissed off.
So this isn't to say that companies can't do layoffs where people know it's coming on ahead of time. You know, you can have downsizing where groups know in advance that, hey, on this date, 4 weeks from now, this department is shutting down. That does happen as well, but usually when that kind of situation is happening, that's because a specific like functional area in an organization is being fundamentally changed, and it's just that functional area that's being impacted, right? So they'll know, hey, your group's being dissolved. Most likely they'll have an opportunity to try to fold themselves in somewhere else in the company. But when you have a big layoff like this, where it's a little bit of here and a little bit of there, and you know there's multiple groups being all ended at the same time, that just it's just how it happens.
There's a hard way to do it. It's hard. It's like
it sucks. Yeah. Now I will say that Peter Parsons, their CEO, the big leader of that organization.
Yeah.
His tweet is the fucking most tone deaf.
Oh my god, yes.
Garbage.
Oh my god.
I was like, oh no.
Didn't even have PR write this. I had Chat GTP write this shit.
So I read a response to that tweet saying that, man, one of your social media managers probably would have told you not to send this tweet out. Too bad you fired him.
Yikes. Oh,
the reports of him saying that in a town hall that they kept the right people. That was that's terrible messing to send to the staff that you have remained. When you stand in front of a bunch of people and explain why people got fired, you need to explain why they got fired and that it was an unfortunate thing that they got fired. You need to not shit on them and say we kept the right people. I mean, come on.
I'm wondering if they're behind the scenes, and this is just because I come from a legal background, if there's any lawsuits that are going to come out of this that they could potentially.
People will try. People will try to sue.
Probably.
Absolutely, but there's no law unless you have some built into your contract, which no company in their right mind would sign that way. That says, you can't lay me off without notice. There's nothing that they could sue for, unless Bungie breached their contract, and then of course you could sue for breach of contract. But I don't know. There's no way we'll ever see any of those people's contracts. Yeah. So who knows? Someone will probably try to sue.
But yeah, that tweet was just so beyond tone deaf, and it was like digging the knife into their back even more. Was with that tweet. Oh, we kept the right people. Okay. Ow.
It's like, here, I'll kick you on the way out instead of the door, bro.
See you later. Well, that was an internal thing that said that, right?
Yeah, it was that is a report. Is reportedly came from a town hall inside Bungie. Yes.
So the concept was to compliment the people that were still in the room, not to kick the people on the way out the door on the way out. It just happened to get out, which everything always does. So always assume everything you're going to say is going to get out, and don't say stupid shit like, we fired the right people. That's exactly the same thing he said, right? So
yeah, I suspect he probably went off script. Probably is what happened there.
Or he fired his speechwriter.
He fumbled it. I mean, yeah, maybe he got laid off and he actually just went to Chat GTP to write that for him. I don't know, man. But it's a big yikes the way that was framed. If the context of how it's been presented to us secondhand is correct, right? You gotta at least mention that, because we don't have a video of him actually saying it or a recording of him actually saying it. It just just what it is.
Yeah. Secondhand information.
And I think that he said on tweet saying these are truly talented people. If you have openings, I would highly recommend each and every one of them. That just seems so what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word right now. I'm sorry, but it just seems so off in a way. Like he's not being genuine.
Do
There
we
you go.
know? Has there been anything in the coverage that mentioned if they got outplacement? A lot of times when companies do layoffs, they, especially if they're like specialized, like positions they're getting rid of, they may offer some outplacement.
I haven't heard of anything. I do know that 343 Studios has been approaching a lot of them. Which, for anyone here who doesn't know, 343 is the studio that
Halo.
currently
Halo.
for Halo.
Yeah.
So I kind of find it funny that a lot of the Bungie, who is the original creator of Halo, all of those employees maybe, or some of those employees at least, may be going back to work on Halo, which is kind of funny to me. But
Oh yeah, because Infinite's great.
Well,
Yeah.
I do think that's kind of funny. We don't have a whole list of people that were laid off and what their jobs entail, because we've been getting blasted by all the information, because like basically all the social media managers were let go. So that's where we're getting we were getting a lot of that information. Social media managers, composers, and then they're talking about still having a team of 600 developers that is working on like. I want to know how many actual developers could go and work on Halo from Bungie that were laid off. Like how many actual developers, like coders, were laid off, or was it all of these departments that make a company better but don't actually contribute anything to the development of the game? I have no idea. There could have been 95 developers. I'm just curious. I'd like to know the numbers of the actual developers that were laid off, or were it just a bunch of different?
So what we know from what we've heard, and this is again all secondhand, is that almost their entire QA staff is gone. All right, which actually I hear isn't unusual, that a lot of game development companies actually outsource QA entirely. They don't do any of it in house.
It's a lot cheaper to do
we
2
know
months
that.
of QA than 12 months.
Every single like community person that we're aware of, except for Cosmo, got yeeted out the door. And then we know a bunch of like artists and story people and composers. Because it wasn't just Salvatore. There were a couple of composers that also got let go.
oh yeah, I just think Salvatore is the biggest name out of the composers that a lot of people are talking about.
They also lost some marketing folks. Their person that does all of the Bungie events, that person is gone. Like the person who organized probably the people that you were trying to connect with at GCX, Agreener, probably gone.
Andy's not gone,
So-
actually. He tweeted and
Okay.
said he still works there.
So
It was a sad message,
like-
but at the end of the day, it was
the
like,
way-
I'm sorry for everyone, but I'm still here.
the way it looks is a couple of departments got heavily hit and the rest just got pared down. So
But gaming's like one of the most like ruthless industries when it comes to that kind of thing. Like you usually work on a game and then like once that game's done, it's like see ya. But
Right.
Destiny's a
wonder-
live service, so I haven't really experienced much information in that regard.
I wonder how much of that work is contract rather than being an actual hire of the company.
It depends on
I
the developer.
would probably assume a good bit of it because
Yeah.
with my experience in the tech industry, and gaming falls under that tech industry umbrella. A lot of those jobs, coding and development and all of that, is all contract based. It's like you're contracted to make this product and do this service for X amount of time, or until that project or service is done, and then your contract expires.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to outsource a lot of the stuff they get rid of, including QA. They'll probably outsource some music. But that's the thing, right? You're getting rid of a QA department. Let's say it's 30 people. Whatever. You're paying them every day for 12 months. Benefits, everything. Okay. You need to QA test an expansion. Whatever. You give them a contract for 2 months. You don't have to pay any benefits. You don't have to do any of this stuff. They get to QA it. And then they send it back and whatever. And it's so much cheaper. And yes, it sucks. We all know it sucks. We all want everybody to keep their jobs. But At the end of the day, when you got to cut costs due to nonsensical corporate America, that's how you do it, and that's how they did it, and that's who they got rid of. They got rid of people I don't want to say non-essential personnel to the development of the game that couldn't be replaced by outsourcing. But at the end of the day, that's who they got rid of. So it sucks. I wish they were a hippie though. She wrote the best twids. Just saying.
So let's ask now. Let's poll this small sample size we have here. Who here is still in on the final shape? Has anybody made a decision that you are out on the final shape based off this happening? Greener?
Oh,
No.
I did not cancel my pre-order. All right.
I was highly considering canceling mine if it was not a gift. I got my pre-order as a gift. One of my Twitch followers and subscribers gifted it to me. But if I had bought it myself, I personally would have canceled the pre-order. And then maybe, depending on how things went, bought the normal, bought the normal non-$100 edition when it came out, because I do kind of want to see how this saga comes to an end, and that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of staying on, other than it being a gift, is because I want to see how the story ends, and I want to see how they draw this to a close, because this has been a saga and a story that's been going on for 10 years now. But I'm not, other than that, I'm not really looking forward to the final shape as much as I was anymore.
Wave. Canceling your
Here's the
pre-order.
thing. I don't even have a pre-order, but I have never let this kind of thing stop me from getting something I want. If I had a pre-order, I probably wouldn't have canceled it. Depending on when the game is released, if we get official word on that, I'll probably eventually get a pre-order still. I'm just not the type to cancel pre-orders or stuff over this kind of thing. It sucks, but I've always been the kind of person, it is what it is. Those people are probably still good enough at their job to go find work elsewhere, But, I mean, I have never based my decisions off of purchasing something off of what a company does. And that's just how I've always been.
All right.
I don't know. If they killed a bunch of children, I might not buy the next expansion.
Oh, yeah, well, probably that. Yeah. If it comes out something like that's happened, I'll probably be like, yeah, I don't know about that,
It's
Chief.
I don't care what a company does. I'll buy their product. Yeah, this is fucking torturing
layoffs,
children for their fingernails to make glue, and you're like, whatever. I need glue.
I was a proprietor of Nike for a long time. Let's get that out there.
Oh, damn.
I bought Nike stuff for a long time, but hey, something like layoffs is not going to stop me from pre-ordering Final Shape.
What about you, Rick?
Well, listen, I've been playing this dance with Greener, where I'm trying to either win or have somebody surreptitiously just give me a copy of the Final Shape because I've been kind of burnt out on it, and I am resolute to continue down that path, since it seems like I've got extra time to work on winning one. Plenty of time to earn points and win my own. If push comes to shove, am I going to not play the Final Shape? Only if next season burns me out so badly that I can't stand playing Destiny anymore. But this situation won't have any bearing on that.
Yeah.
Okay,
that is
cool.
another thing that I kind of wanted, that I'm kind of wondering about, is with this next season being almost 6-7 months long, what are they going to do in that time? Are they going to come out with something that's like the 30th anniversary edition, that's something short and simple? Are they going to, is it going to be one long season, or are they going to break it up into smaller seasons? That is something that I'm really interested to see how they approach this, now 6-month gap of just dead time between, now and when the Final Shape is supposed to come out.
Okay, here's my predictions. All right. So, my prediction, number 1, is season 23 is going to play out the way it's supposed to. 3 months, 8 weeks of story, whatever it happens to be. Now, these delays that people talk about, are typically known about far in advance, before they decide to do layoffs, before they decide to do this. This delay was probably decided. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, why did they do the big reveal in August if they knew they were going to delay it or whatnot?" I've literally seen games announced a release date in 1 month and then delay it 3 days later. Naughty Dog literally did it. So let's be clear. So my point is, I think they've known this is coming for a while. I think they may have a plan similar to 30, maybe for a 10th year Bungie or Destiny anniversary. You know, that was 30-year Bungie. This would be 10-year Destiny. Potentially drop in the beginning of March. Probably nothing crazy. Like, remember, 30th was just a dungeon and a new activity. That was it. Nothing. Oh, and some gear. That could be done in a couple months, I assume. Not a game developer. Don't take me on my word. But maybe they could throw something out there. Keep us occupied until June. So, my prediction, next season, same thing. Potential drop of a little bit of content somewhere around next March to keep us tied over until June when they release the final ship.
And I would much rather than delay it and put out a well-rounded, finished product than have a Cyberpunk 2077 situation where they released a product that is wholly unfinished, that is super, super buggy to the point where it's almost unplayable on other platforms other than a PC.
Hey, this is still a Destiny release, all right? It's got to be buggy when it first launches.
I mean,
It's all
I
part
understand
of the
that.
game.
I know it's part of the Destiny experience, but I'd rather have them have more time to fully flesh and round everything out so that when it releases, it doesn't have things that are absolutely game-shatteringly broken. Or, you know, have that time to fully, you know, make sure that everything is going to work like it's supposed to, if that makes sense.
I absolutely hear you. Like, as much as I hate the concept of this delay, because it's basically my job as the Shrouded founder to keep people engaged, and that's going to be fucking hard from February to June. It's already hard now, and we're in the middle of an actual season. So, but with even all of that said, I much rather than put out a good expansion in June than a shitty expansion in February. So,
Agreed.
Yeah.
so yeah, that's it.
Especially
Now,
after
if they delay
Lightfall.
it and it still sucks, I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
I would be
Especially
too.
after how poorly received Lightfall was, and like Lightfall was because I'm still a newer player. I've only been playing since August of last year. I was really hyped for Lightfall. It was like my first expansion with the game. I was really excited for it, and then it dropped, and I just felt so underwhelmed because everyone was hyping it up. It was very hyped up, and then it came out, and I'm just like, oh, that's it. Like it just felt like such a letdown versus what I was expecting from expansions. I'm used to like big mega expansions from all the other games like Final Fantasy 14, World of Warcraft. A lot of those expansions come out.
Let's be
not good
clear.
examples, but
Both of those games have monthly subscription fees, so you cannot compare them to Destiny. Think of a game that doesn't have a subscription like that, and that's what you got to compare an expansion to. Just saying.
Yeah, that's a rough.
Because
one.
I agree with you. A Realm Reborn, those expansions, they're huge, they're massive, but they constantly are getting like full on like updates every week, new content, all this stuff. That's because there's 12 million people giving them, I exaggerated, 2 million
$15 a
people giving them $15 a month to employ thousands of developers, not 500, not 600 that Bungie has. Yes, we do get $10 per season, but that's $10 for every 3 months, as opposed to $15
$10
every month. Anyway, it's a big difference. So I try not to compare those two.
The only reason I draw that as a comparison is because the only thing that I have to compare it to, because it's the only game like that, you know, games that have expansions that I've played. So that's the only really like source that I had to draw a comparison to. But it's just, I got into Lightfall. I was really hyped for it. It was my day, you know, my scheduled day off work. I sat there and I played through it, and it just felt so wholly underwhelming.
Yeah, it was.
To what I was kind of expecting from a game like Destiny that I had begun to really, really, really enjoy. And it's this huge thing that I was getting into, and then Lightfall dropped, and I'm just like, oh.
they would have played "You're the Best Around" or "Eye of the Tiger" underneath every time you were learning about Strand, it would have been 100% better.
Oh
for me.
yeah, that would have made it better.
1000%.
Especially during that like training montage cutscene that we had, like put Eye of the Tiger over that, and we're set, boy.
Dang.
That would have been good.
Dun, dun, dun.
Eye of the Tiger
So,
used to be. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I had a similar thing. Here's how Lightfall played out for me. So I had not played since Season of Arrivals. I saw Lightfall and I was like, dude, this aesthetic looks so sick on the trailer. Like, it's like cool. I got an extra $60. Yeah, I got into it. I was like, I literally played the campaign, and then I was like walking around like, what do I do now? Like, I think Neo Muna, like, I was like, Neo Muna looked cool on the cover, and then I'm like, oh, this place sucks. Like,
There's
not
nothing
great.
to do on Neo Muna. Like, there's the only thing that I go to
Ron.
Neo Muna for anymore is
Ron.
either Ron or the Vex Incursion Zones, because
That's
I'm
it.
still trying to get exotics for my other characters that are
Hey,
Titan.
their lost sectors are fucking cool. Come on now.
yeah, those lost sectors are pretty cool. Let me put it this way. Like,
well, two of them are probably the best ones, or some of the best ones in the game.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
yeah,
This is just me, but I think one of my favorite little like side things about Neo Muna is in various locations around the map, there's these little holographic cats that are just appear, and then if you get too close to them, they like meow and disappear. And there have been so many theories out there about what those cats mean, but I just think that was a cute little like detail, is that they have pets. The Neo Mooney have these pet holographic cats that just appear around the map.
Not the only zone with cats. Dreaming City's got them.
I was gonna say the Dreaming City has cats.
all
there's a
over the
bunch of
tower.
cats all over the place.
There
yeah.
are cats all over the tower if you know where to look.
Oh yeah,
They're
like there's
little
one in
interactive.
Zavala's office. There's one up by Hawthorne. There's actually, for the Halloween event, there's one in each of the candy trees.
When's your raid wave? Dave?
In 5
Dave
minutes.
Waves, 5 minutes.
All
Yeah,
right.
and
All right.
This has been
7
pretty
minutes.
long anyway. This has been pretty long.
I have
So
I have one final closing for my homies on Twitter. All right, my final thoughts. All right, especially the ones that are saying that they're gonna boycott Destiny over
Yeah.
this
Okay.
layoff. All
See you later, nerds.
They listen. I respect voting with your wallet, and if this is a breaking point for them, then that's what they should do. But if they're going to do that, I want to encourage them to stick to their convictions, and they should also probably stop playing Fortnite or Gears of War or Pokemon Go or Apex Legends, any EA Sports game, Battlefield, Rust, Cuphead, Ori and the Blind Forest, Hollow Knight, Beat Saber, Hearthstone,
League.
Escape from Tarkov, Among Us,
Rocket
Fall
League,
Guys, Pillars
yeah.
of Eternity, Subnautica,
Yeah.
Darksiders, Tomb Raiders, any game that's powered by Unreal, or
Yeah.
any game that's powered by Unity. Because guess what? None of these games exist without developers or publishers that laid off a shit ton of people this year. Probably not in fun ways. All right.
Mhm.
And while you're at it, all right, stop ordering anything from Amazon, who laid off 27,000 people this year. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever use Google, because Alphabet laid off 12,000 people this year.
Don't buy a Tesla.
Throw your Xbox out the window, because Microsoft laid off 10,000 people this year. All right. Don't use PayPal. Don't use Spotify. Don't use Vimeo. Don't use Twitter. Don't use GitHub. Don't use Zoom. Don't use Dell or Pinterest or Netflix or Meta, because
my
they
God, it
all
keeps
had
going.
fucking huge layoffs this year. All right.
Oh my god! Man did his homework.
And you can bet those layoffs weren't pretty for the people that were affected. All right. So if you're still going to operate, if you're still going to utilize those companies, you're a fucking hypocrite, and you should shut the fuck up on Twitter. Just delete the app already, you piece of shit. All right. That's all.
Bam! I love it. All right. That's so true, though. It's such hypocrisy when people are yelling that.
They're virtue signaling. They're using
Yeah.
this as a virtue signal for
That's
their
exactly
own clout,
it.
as you were saying at the beginning. If
Mhm.
you're going to say that I'm boycotting the final shape and I'm not doing that, then you should carry that over to every other aspect of your life, and not just because you're trying to use this for clout.
You know how many people said they're on Twitter that were like, "Yeah, I'm canceling my final shape." You know, like I'd be willing to bet only 20% of the people that actually said it did it.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, absolutely.
The other 80%, that's what it is. It's it's virtual signal clout. They were like, "Oh, look how good a person I am. I'm going to be super nice, and I'm going, fuck right off. Like, no, you're not. You don't care. You give two shits about half of these people. If you actually cared, well, I don't know what you'd do if you actually cared. Maybe
half of them are probably like me deep down, where it's like, bro, I don't know any of you. Like, sorry, it sucks to get laid off, but I'm gonna go play my video game, bro.
Happens to 150,000 people a year.
They don't support any company that's done this. Well, guess what? You're living in the woods in a shack with a fire and like a stick to catch your food with. All right, that's just what it's. Throw your fucking iPhone out the window. Come on.
Every company has done this throughout the history of time, and I think in the wake of this, I'm interested to see where Bungie goes and what happens.
Yeah, all right. I agree.
Thank you for having me. I do have to go. Thank you for having me.
Bye, Raiders.
No
Enjoy.
problem. Bye-bye. One last thing, I guess, before we go here. Oh shit! I wonder if this one's gonna work. No, everyone's gone. All right, we're just gonna leave it on this one because it's working. So a lot of talk about unionization in the gaming industry. You think it'll fix all the problems, or you think people are just shouting into a fucking vacuum chamber?
Unions are one way to protect yourself as a worker from this kind of thing. There are only 3 ways to protect yourself from layoffs. One is to be self-employed, and then you're at the whim of whatever market you're in. The next is to be a contract worker, but you can still be let go. But usually there's something in the contract.
More hoops that you have to jump through.
You'll get something out of being let go. It'll be in your contract, or you unionize, right? Which comes with its own baggage.
Yeah, I was gonna say, have you ever worked with a union?
Starbucks has done with unionize. I've worked with unions, and unions were a great tool and resource for me. I do think that the gaming industry should unionize, because it provides a security blanket against things like this.
You ever work with a union though? Like you're not union, you have to work with a union to get something done. It's the worst experience ever. I hate it with a passion. I used to be a contractor inside of a convention center to do audio-visual work, and the convention center was unionized. And to get like a fucking table moved was the worst goddamn experience in the world because only certain people could do it. They're only scheduled from now till now. I can't move the goddamn thing because I'm taking someone's job away from them. Yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. That's only one example. There was just tons of it, and it's so frustrating. And are they all like that, or just the really bad ones is what I'm wondering. That's the only problem that I have really with it. As a gamer, I'd love for everyone to be protected, but also, I don't want the next God of War game to come out in 15 years. I want it in 5. And if they unionize, like if Santa Monica unionized, perfect example, when we'd get the next game from them, it would not be as fast a turnaround from 2018 the Ragnarok. It would be like at least double the amount of time. Because you gotta jump through all these hoops. And is it a bad thing to treat people better? No, obviously not. But I don't want to wait. Do you want to wait?
Like I said,
do you want to wait till 2027 for the final shape, Rec?
I'll be dead.
Jesus Christ. Maybe I'm just a bad person that's selfish. It's possible. Definitely possible. I just had bad experiences with unions. And they do fight for their workers, get better pay, get better benefits. And they protect them from mass layoffs like this. So yeah, I guess that's all worth it. Fuck. All right. I guess we're going to go back to 15-year game cycles, everyone.
I mean, we're still waiting on the next, what was it, Elder Scrolls or Skyrim? Whichever one of those.
They only started working on it recently, though, because they were doing Starfield. So. And that game sucked.
Starfield.
Yeah, it's not like Elder Scrolls 6
was the space shanties.
Yeah, it's not like Elder Scrolls 6 has been in development for 10 years. They haven't been working on it. That's completely different. Anyway, yeah, because I rather get Fallout 5 actually. I love Fallout games; they're good. Give me Fallout 5. Fuck Elder Scrolls 6. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, we should head out. It's been a long one already, hour and a half. Let's do this. Nice dog. I love when Rex avatar barks when his dog barks. That's hilarious.
That's great.
That was beautiful.
I mention it every time, and I can't get over it. I think it's hilarious. Okay. Anyway, so I guess we typically do plugs. I'm going to plug the Extra Life stream. Starts tomorrow at 9 o'clock Eastern. It's 48 hours. There's going to be a ton of shit on it. Me, other people, all playing different games. Destiny, probably some drinking involved, some Fall Guys, some... I forget the other games. Oh, Duck Duck Goose, Crucible, Gambit. Shit, there's a whole list of it. Anyway, go check it all out. It's going to be amazing. Come at least donate to the little children. They need your help. They're all dying. Don't be an asshole. And that's what I got to plug. You got anything, Rect?
No, Kor, go ahead, because I'm going to be a minute.
You know, I was going to mention the Extra Life stream this weekend. I have a Gambit session, 1 hour Gambit session Saturday at 4, or no, at 2. And then I'm going to be playing a bunch with. I'm in the Fall Guys tournament. I'm in the Duck Duck Goose, or the Duck Duck Go Goose.
It's Goose
What's
Duck.
that game called? There we go.
Goose
Brain no worky. But no, I'm really excited. I'm going to be as active as possible throughout the different games and helping out as much as I can because I do really enjoy this community and want to help as much as I can.
Great.
Self-promote your stream and or
Yeah.
YouTube channel.
Yeah. Tell people. No,
I'm
do
sorry,
it.
I
Right
had to seize.
Oh, it's okay.
Come check me out, KorSavage, twitch.tv/KorSavage. I stream. I'm a VTuber. I stream Destiny and League primarily with a few indie games here and there, like Stray, Ghostwire Tokyo, etc. Very chill, laid back stream. Come check me out.
All right. Extra Life stream this weekend. We are within $3,000 of forcing Agreener and I to get stabbed with needles thousands of times, getting tattoos. Please make that happen or something, I guess. All of our events are wrapped up for October. Go vote for Festival of the Shrouded for the short story contest, please. Head onto that channel and hit some react emojis on the ones that tickle your fancy. If you are scared to read all of that wall of text in there, look, just find a transmog you like and then read the story. If the story is cool, vote for that one. If the story is ass, then don't vote for it and pick the next one that sparked your interest. All right, real easy. And yeah, that's it. I was gonna say something about some holiday events coming, but maybe an IRL cookie baking contest is coming. So keep your eyes out for that whenever it hits. So that's all I got.
Oh yeah, and actually do it,
Mr._Rect on Twitch.
Yeah. Actually do it this time too, because Rec just did a IRL Halloween costume contest, and the winners won the final shape. I know not everybody wants one right now, but they won $50, and there was only 2 entries, and they both won because there was only 2 entries. Like, how hard would it have been to take a picture of your fucking Halloween costume and post it in Discord? You buttholes. All right, anyway. Easy. In fact, you want to know something funny, Eric? Somebody posted one in Destiny screenshots the day before, just showing off their Cade 6 costume for Halloween. And I was like, shit, you should have really posted it in the other thing. I didn't say anything, actually.
$50 in the pocket right now. But
yeah, $50
I
in
actually
your
have
pocket.
a costume piece in the works for my next convention. I'm getting 2 more of the Elixir baby plushes, and I'm making a sling to go across my chest to carry them around like the Elixir do in the tower, and going to wear my hunter's cloak.
That'll be awesome. Cool. All right, next year, make sure to take a picture of it and take part of the Shrouded Halloween contest. All right, that's it. Thank you all for watching this week of Shrouded, episode 36. I was your host, Agreener, co-host Mr. Rect, and I guess KorSavage. Thank you so much for being with us. BigWaveDave was here, but he left early, so he doesn't get a shout out. Thank you. And yeah, that's basically That's it. Goodbye.
Have a good night, guys.
All right. Woo!